This movie felt like something that you would watch from an old Amblin, era, the blockbuster era of Amblin films, 80s and 90s, those movies. Welcome back to the channel. We're Fandom Fix. I'm Austin, and that's Roman. And guys, it seems that life has found a way because the new Jurassic World movie is actually really good, in my opinion. And so today we're going to be talking about why this movie hit all of the marks that the originals gave us back in the 90s. We're going to talk about the things that stuck out the most and why ultimately we think the Jurassic World franchise has a long way to go still after the not so great Jurassic World movies with Chris Pratt. So, Roman, let's jump in. Why do you think this movie was as good as it was?
This really felt like the original movie back in 1993. They brought back original screenwriter David Koepp, who wrote the screenplays for the first and second Jurassic Park movies, as well as War of the Worlds in 2005, and several other really good movies as of recently. And one thing, this cast was great, but I think this started and ended with bringing back Koepp and Steven Spielberg, who produced this with Amblin, and I know you're going to talk about that in a minute, along with the fresh direction from Gareth Edwards, which is being praised from the early audience scores, is the direction of Gareth Edwards. And we're not new to seeing Edwards breathe life into a franchise that really, really needed it. Yeah. Because Gareth Edwards also directed Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which many, including myself, believe is one of, if not the best piece of work that Disney has put out since they took over Star Wars by a long shot. So Gareth Edwards deserves a ton of credit here, but this cast was also just phenomenal. When we think of Scarlett Johansson, it's difficult not to think of Black Widow, but I don't think it's insane to say that I think outside of her dramatic performance in the big finale of Avengers, outside of that, I think this was in my opinion, this was one of her best roles that she's been in outside of the Marvel situation. Mahershala Ali as Duncan Kincaid, one of Scarlett Johansson's character in Zora, one of her old friends from her career as basically a mercenary. Jonathan Bailey, who we know from the Wicked movies, played Dr. Henry Loomis. That was the dinosaur expert in this movie. Rupert Friend played the pharmaceutical executive. I've been a huge fan of Rupert Friend ever since he appeared on Homeland. He's a phenomenal actor. He's also has a little history with Star Wars, playing the Inquisitor in the Obi-Wan series. But he's a phenomenal actor, and he played his role as kind of the bad guy in this very well. But the surprise cameo to me came from Manuel Garcia Rolfo, who many would know from Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer. Played a father who just happened to be wrong place, wrong time. He was on a boat with his two daughters, and it tipped over because they were in the ocean with one of these big dinosaurs. The dinosaur tipped him over. They got picked up by Zora and Duncan's boat, and then they were separated for much of the movie, came back together. It culminated nicely. So you had this nice B plot with this family that was just in this jungle. But all that to say, this cast was phenomenal. The score was excellent. The use of the classic Jurassic Park theme was in there at some very good moments. This movie was also pretty tense. There were some really intense moments. There was a moment with the family where they're being chased by a T-Rex, and you didn't know if they were going to make it. And it was really, really tense. There were some holy crap moments in this movie as well. But all that to say, what are your thoughts on this, Austin?
Yeah, ultimately, I think the style of this movie was exactly what the Jurassic Park franchise needed after quite a bit of movies. I mean, this is the seventh one in the franchise. And other than the first Jurassic World with Chris Pratt, I think they kind of slowly got worse. Jurassic World Dominion was not the best, considering they brought back all of the original characters, Alan Grant, Dr. Malcolm, Ellie Sattler, and they just didn't use them well. And so, kind of going back to the return to form was what needed. And Gareth Edwards has said in interviews that he wanted to capture that '90s aesthetic, and he did that very well. This movie felt like something that you would watch from an old Amblin, era, the blockbuster era of Amblin films, '80s and '90s, those movies. And so it was really nice to see something that was so unique for this modern era of movies. It, wasn't unique back then, but it is now, to see something that is just a simple adventure. It's a good story with good character development, fun special effects. They didn't spend a lot of money on this movie compared to other big blockbusters, and that's kind of the style of Amblin. Even Dolores, that small dinosaur that the young daughter, kind of befriended, and they followed around. It's very Amblin. You have that small creature friend type situation. The scares and the jump scares, the thrills felt very much like the original Jurassic Park, and that was something that the other ones kind of missed on. They were trying to just deliver this giant worldwide story instead of just getting very small and close and personal with the characters. This is what that movie did. You got to know the personal losses of Zora. You got to know the personal losses of the crew members. And ultimately, you got to see this family fight for survival as the father's trying to get closer to his kids. So I loved the feel of going back to the original. It even ended just like the original did, with them leaving the island on a boat, and very open-ended. We don't know if this was a standalone adventure. I would like to say that with the success of July 4th weekend, this movie is going to get another one. It's going to get a sequel, because the company that they were getting the samples for in this movie, now that they decided to give it out to the public for free to help the public good, this company is definitely going to probably retaliate and get back at them. Pretty typical for Jurassic Park franchise, for this corrupt company doing scientific endeavors that go too far, and somebody has to basically save the day. So all in all, I didn't hate on this movie. I love the Jurassic Park franchise. Dinosaurs are fun. Obviously, the money, the box office success already is showing that for people, and just hearing John Williams' score play through this movie brings chills. I mean, you just can't go wrong. It feels like a classic adventure that harkens back to the things that we grew up with.
I think there was a report that said this one is tracking for a $300 million box office run. And you mentioned budget a little bit ago. I mean, it still costs a lot of money. I think I saw the budget was somewhere between 180 and 225. I think it was closer to the 180, making it one of the lesser, one of the quote unquote cheaper Jurassics to make, definitely cheaper than all of the Jurassic Worlds before it. And I actually looked it up because I was curious. So this one cost on the lower end, 180 million. The original Jurassic Park in 1993 cost 63 million to make, but if you adjust for that for inflation in 2025, it comes out to around 140 million.
Oh, wow.
So they used their budget wisely here, and it was made for not that much more than if you adjusted the original Jurassic Park for. And I thought that was fascinating as well, because, and I'll say this, one thing I was thinking in the course of this movie, it's a very simple plot. If you can call it a stretch to be like, oh, I think if we take DNA from these dinosaurs, we can cure heart disease. Just say what you will about that, but it was a very simple plot. That was their objective. Yeah. And we've seen so many big movies bomb recently. And I think if studios are listening, this proves like it doesn't have to be, yes, this costs 180 million, but it doesn't have to be this big thing, this huge thing to put your movie in this much in debt before it starts. Just be a simple, enjoyable movie. And it doesn't have to be, oh, audiences didn't like it because they're this, or name calling the audience because your movie failed. Make a better movie. Yeah. Like this movie proved it doesn't have to be convoluted or philosophical, although there were some pretty big philosophical things said by Jonathan Bailey's scientist in some certain parts. But it doesn't have to be this big thing. It doesn't have to be this big art house film. Just make a fun summer movie.
Well, let's be honest. Universal does pretty good with that. They're still banging, obviously, in the parks too. Disney's the one that kind of has been slacking when it comes to this high budget film, but not a lot of meat to it, not a lot of heart to it. They got to catch up. And one of the things we see here is that, people hate too much on movies these days. And, people want to say that this is a terrible movie, or they want to say that, this lacked certain qualities, but everyone's going to always find some reason to complain. And yes, the Jurassic Park franchise has gone way farther than I ever thought it would. Probably anybody thought back in the 90s, because they milk these franchises for no other. But the fact is that obviously people want to see this type of stuff. It's a brand name. It's a household name, Jurassic Park. And, the theater was packed when we went. The parking lot was packed. The theaters were sold out for the entire day throughout July 4th weekend. And I think that says something. And, everybody online maybe a loud minority, but at the end of the day, normal audiences are just craving a fun popcorn flick with good characters and not a lot of mess in it. And that's what we're getting with something like this. And I think that's why it's a success. And so drown out the noise and just go watch a fun movie.
Look, I mean, this has a 72% audience score, so I don't think there's too many fans hating on this. I think this is critics and studios, because they're probably mad about that they made it for much less than some of these movies and it's doing better. But like I said, make better movies. The harsh truth for studio heads is making movies, or at least what it used to feel like it was when Amblin was running the world. It's not about making the suits rich. It's about giving audiences what they want.
Yeah.
And this movie did that. So few movies these days feel like you can feel that that's not their focus.
Yeah.
This movie gave audiences what they wanted, and that's what you're supposed to do.
It's about giving magic and true storytelling to the audiences, and that's something that we genuinely have lost or Hollywood has lost overall. So
absolutely.
We would love to know what you think out there about Jurassic World Rebirth. Did you like it, or did you think it was just a total mess? Give us your thoughts down below in the comments. Let us know what you liked, what you disliked, if you think the Jurassic World franchise is bright. But we would love to know. So like this video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss another movie review from us. But until next time, we are Fandom Fix. See ya.